to Duncan Field. Here, Chevreau bolting to first and going to be out on a grounder to third. Third baseman there on the out. Shaker Heights baseball just wrapped up a moment ago. And so we bolted on over from that field here at the Ripken Experience, made our way here to Duncan Field, the softball field here in Myrtle Beach's Ripken Experience. And now we're seeing Armstrong get the at-bat from the left-handed batter's box. She'll take ball one upstairs. So excuse me if I'm a little out of breath, but doing my best out here in Myrtle Beach, you know. Might as well cover this game while I'm out here. Shaker Heights' softball game actually got to quite the late start. They're supposed to begin 15 minutes before the Shaker Heights baseball game, but actually started almost an hour later. And so now here we are. This one fouled off to the left side as well from Armstrong. So out here, Shaker Heights up 4-3, while the baseball team lost 5-3. So hopefully Shaker Heights softball can flip the script a little bit against another New Jersey school. This time it's the Hackettstown Tigers. This one down low took a roller down to the plate for Armstrong, who still holds. Shaker Heights up 4-3, now a 2-2 offering to Armstrong, this time up high. We count it down, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Shaker Heights could really use the victory here, especially before heading home. You would love a big-time scrimmage victory before heading into the regular season. You especially don't want to go winless in your time in Myrtle Beach. You don't want to take the long drive out here, about 14 hours, then drive all the way back after a loss. Of course, Shaker Heights, both baseball and softball teams driving back early tomorrow morning. You want to end on a high note. Unfortunately, while the baseball team couldn't do that, here, Armstrong bolting to second as this one made its way to the backstop on a wild pitch. But Shaker Heights, especially before they start the regular season against GCC opponent Menor, would love that momentum. Shaker Heights now with a runner on second. Miller checked the swing. Umpire says she went around. Miller 1 for 2 on the day. And again, our apologies for not being able to catch the early innings. We were off covering baseball, which, well, I'm technically hired to do. But over here, we decided we're going to call some more softball and maybe call a victory out here in Myrtle Beach. But Shaker Heights trying to build a little bit more insurance into this one. Armstrong in scoring position at second. Excuse me as well, yesterday, I'm aware I was calling Reagan Armstrong Anderson because there was another batter for the opposite team named Anderson. So I got the two mixed up a little bit. Here Armstrong bolting to third as another wild pitch unable to be kept out in front of the catcher. And there we go. Shaker Heights in good position with one away, and Eleanor Miller at the plate. As we said, 1 for 2 on the day. Eleanor Miller already with a run and 2 RBIs to the name. Here comes the pitch up high. That moves the count to full. So we go off. Once again, we count it down at 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Shaker up by 1, looking for more. If they can, Gentili in the on-deck circle. Here's the pitch, and Miller swings through strike 3. Drop third strike, throw on the first in time, and there is out number 2. Gentili, the catcher in today's affair, comes up to the plate. Shaker Heights in their red jerseys, black pants. The other squad out there in black jerseys, black pants, so a bit easy to mix them up, especially since the only color differentiating from them is red and orange. The Tigers, of course, being the orange squad. The Red Raiders, of course, being the red squad. But still, oh, here, and Armstrong able to make the move home, and boom, a stand-up score from third. And how about that? Reagan Armstrong able to score in from third on, once again, a wild pitch from number 9 out there on the mound. And Shaker Heights extends that lead back up to 2. 5-3. The current score between the Red Raiders and the Hackettstown Tigers. Both the baseball and softball squads taking on schools from New Jersey. Shaker Heights just unable to scratch out the win. They had the lead up until the very final moments, 3-2, but lost it 4-3. And for Shaker Heights baseball, actually, the name of the game was the errors made on defense. But here, while the Shaker Heights softball team has had 4, it hasn't been enough to take away their accomplishments on the bases. And here, the throw down, and she missed the mark. Thought it was an out over there at first, but the first baseman just unable to keep the ball in the mitt. And with that, Gentili going to reach on an error. And there you go. Hackettstown will move up to 2 errors on the evening. Scout Harvey, another name you got to watch out here on the softball squad. She is 1 for 2 on the day. Though she did strike out once, she has been pitching once again. Lights out for the squad. 96 pitches, 64 of which have been strikes on 24 batters faced. And looks like here we're going to get a pinch runner here for the Red Raiders, as well as Gentili is getting courtesy as the catcher on the defensive side. Here's the pitch, this time down low, and that's going to get Scout Harvey. It's going to run in on the inner right thigh, and she'll easily take first this time. Shaker Heights up 2. But continuing to threaten here on the bases as they are to 2 outs, but they continue to just put people on. And right now, Hauk, number 20, in the right-handed batter's box, 0 for 2 on the day. But with the way this inning has gone, Shaker Heights might be able to continue moving forward. Here, Harvey going to take first back. She was in the middle of first and second, but bolted back to first without any throw. Due to the defensive errors, they just didn't feel confident enough to move it back over to the first base. Here, ball missed once again by the catcher, but she is doing a good job at keeping the ball out in front of her. 3 balls, no strikes here to Hauk. And now here, this one cut on. A bit of a late swing, but it'll be fouled back into the mask of the catcher, who comes to the near side caging and comes and grabs it, delivers it back off to the pitcher. Shaker Heights up 5-3 here. 3-1 count now on the first strike coming from a foul ball, tapped into the backstop. 2 outs here, 2 on. Here's the pitch, and that one in there, strike 2. And we're going to have a payoff pitch on its way in just a moment here. Harvey over at first. Pinch runner for Gentili over at second. This pitch upstairs, and that's going to earn ball 4 a walk. At least it should be. And indeed, eventually Hauk going to make the way over to first. So there you go. Do you know who the runner on third is? Is that Adelaide? Yeah. What's the last, do you know the last name? Shoot. Shaker Heights now getting a little bit of a rest with a mound visit this time. Shaker Heights with bases loaded. Shaker Heights up by 2. Trying to counter the loss of the baseball squad. Right now, Shaker Heights with the bases loaded. Hauk at first. It's Harvey on second. And the pinch runner over at third. And I believe the name over there we have is Davies, Adelaide Davies, number 21. Over there at third, trying to extend the lead and maybe double them up on the scoreboard. This pitch down low from number 9, taken here by Skylar James. James 2 for 2 already on the evening. Next pitch over, this one a tapper over to third. That one just barely not foul, and here safe! They call the catcher standing off home plate just barely. Surprised that one wasn't called off. You might have seen the motion from the umpire as he waved that, yes, the catcher was indeed off of the plate. And so with that, Davies comes in to score. And now here, this one popped foul over to the right side. So still bases are loaded after James reached on what should be considered a defensive error. Here, a liner off in the left center. That one's going to roll all the way to the wall. 1 scores, 2 scores, and this is going to be a base-clearing triple. And maybe an inside the Parker as Miller comes in. An inside the park grand slam for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. That time coming from Emerson Miller, number 26, with a big-time knock. And that moves the score from 6-3 all the way up. It's now 10-3, a 7-run lead for your Shaker Heights Red Raiders. And how about that? Harper Thornton now in. Grounds one over to the right side. Tough defensive effort this time, and Thornton almost runs into the first baseman over there on the right side, but Thornton seems to be all right. With that, that'll conclude inning number 5. Shaker Heights up 7. And it looks like Shaker's defense set to return back out to the field. It's going to be our first time calling Shaker Heights out on defense. That was a long inning of offense for Shaker Heights. 6 runs coming across right now on a 10-3 is your score. Shaker Heights leading here at Duncan Field at the Ripken Experience in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We'll be right back with you. Vaughn Ullum on the call. Harvey sends one into a swing and miss from the batter number 2. Harvey back out there, 97 pitches now for her, and so she's thrown almost 300 pitches now here in Myrtle Beach. I mean, this one a roller. Miller, the shortstop, trying to go and get it as the second baseman was covering. Armstrong was coming in on the play as well. Not exactly the defensive play to be made, but Miller, the one to take it. They're ruling it an infield single on Game Changer. We'll see if that remains. Gentili's throw down at short. Miller unable to apply the tag in time, so Grant will be able to reach safely over at second. Runner in scoring position now. Keep in mind, however, Hackettstown now down by 7 after a 6-run bottom of the 5th. Here, Harvey on the pitch. That one sent in there. Strike number 1, or excuse me, strike 2 on Moran. Moran 0 for 2 on the day. Here, Grant set to take the lead off of second. Now she will. Ooh, they're a harsh hit over to the right side, almost hitting O'Shea Howard, who's now over there from the baseball field. Decided to make his way into the dugout. Now he's leaving after almost getting hit with the softball. A hard pitch coming his way. Here, 101 pitches now as this one comes on its way. That one being 1-0 first. And that one taken for ball 1. 1-2 goes your count. As we said, Shaker Heights in the red top, black pants on the other side. All black look here for the Hackettstown Tigers, another squad from out in New Jersey. Like the baseball team, both squads finishing things out in Myrtle Beach against New Jersey High School. 2-2, your count worked to even. Here's the next offering, that time upstairs, as Moran took the squat on the pitch. And now it's worked to full. Nobody out just yet here in the top of the 6th inning. As we said, Moran 0 for 2. Here's the next offering, and this one, that's going to catch. Moran frustrated as she jogs back over to the dugout, visibly aggravated with the call of strike 3. Try to take it for the walk, but indeed not going to be the case. Scout Harvey has only allowed 4 hits here today. A lot of the other base runners here for the Tigers have come off of the 4 defensive errors from Shaker Heights. But it hasn't been enough to keep the Shaker Heights offense at bay. Their momentum has held strong throughout the game. 4 runs in the 3rd. Here a grounder over to short. Miller's throw on to first. Armstrong there with the extension and making the grab over at first. First base coach arguing that Armstrong's foot was off the bag. Now infield umpire joining the infield umpire, and they just nod at each other and say, I don't want to get any more complaints, and just give the runner first base. That is honestly a ridiculous call. And here head coach Rosen of Shaker now arguing the umpire, saying you had no visible evidence to overturn that one, no reasonable argument. And so Rosen clearly also making her case known, but we'll see how they rule it. And Rosen still rather frustrated as she comes back to the dugout, and I think everyone's just saying, let's not frustrate the New Jersey guy over there at first. He was clearly frustrated. The umpires didn't want to deal with it here in one of the final innings of Myrtle Beach. They just give the runner first. Here a bunt. Harvey with the throw on the first. That's going to be in time if the first base coach wants to argue that. I don't know who he's going to be arguing to. So there's out number 2. Frost moved over to first as Kemper was the one on the grounder. Easy play to be made by Harvey. Runner in scoring position now for Hackettstown, trying to tack on a second here in the 6th inning. Though it's seeming unlikely that a comeback could happen, you never do know, especially with the way Shaker's offense has worked with 4 runs in the 3rd, 6 runs in the 5th. Shaker Heights has been rather streaky with their offensive runs. And here's the next offering. This one a grounder over to Armstrong. Armstrong almost falls over, but gets the foot on the base first and is there for out number 3 in the top of the 6th. So Shaker Heights still holding strong to a 6-run lead here at Duncan Field. We'll be right back with you as the Red Raiders are cooking out here at the softball field under the blue sky of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Vaughn Allum on the call. We're going to be right back with you. Right now, Shaker Heights up 6 here in the second to last inning of softball here for Shaker Heights. Here, a knock out to left field, and here, missing the ball is the left fielder. Here, Chevreau taking a trot off to third, and it looks like that's where she will have to remain as here a triple for Chevreau. And how about that first base hit for Chevreau here today is going to be a leadoff triple here in the bottom of the 6th. Big time stuff now for Armstrong, as Reagan Armstrong, the left-handed hitter, takes this one down low and outside for ball 1. Shaker Heights 12 hits now, which has easily countered over the 4 defensive errors, and this time once again missing the mark for ball 2. Chevreau over there at third. Reagan Armstrong 2 for 2 on the day with a walk as well. I mean, come on. Unfair from Reagan Armstrong, this time outside. Also, we were talking, I'm not sure if you caught it on the camera, I was talking to head coach Rosen about what the call was on that infield safe call there over at first. Here, a liner in the left. That's going to score Chevreau. And Armstrong thinking about second, but going to stay put over at first. 3 for 3 goes Armstrong here today with a walk. And 2 runs scored. Maybe make it 3 in just a moment. We're about to find out. But I mean, Armstrong, have yourself a day here at Duncan Field. Eleanor Miller now lines this one in the left. That moves Armstrong up to second, up 60 more feet. And Miller over there at first. Now RBI opportunity for Juliana Gentili. Shaker Heights trying to add some more insurance, though they have plenty of it. Now with 7 runs the lead, but here they're saying, why not just throw on a little bit more? Nobody out just yet. Gentili takes this one down low. Armstrong over there at second. It's Miller at first. 11-4. Now your score with Shaker Heights leading by a comfortable amount. And now here's the next pitch. This one a tapper over to third. Going to take the force at third. Still try across the diamond, though that one not in time. They take the force at third. Armstrong will be out. Though a lot of fist bumps here for Armstrong, as Armstrong has been 100% successful at the plate today. As we said, 3 for 3, a walk, an RBI, 2 runs. That's just something that you got to tip your cap to if you're the Hackettstown Tigers. Here a liner in the right. That one just going to be over the head of the right fielder, number 9. That's going to score Miller. Gentili rounding third. She's going to score as well. Harvey, will she stay put? No! She's going for home, and she will score easily. Your 10-run deficit is met, and Shaker Heights will call this one at a mercy. Absolutely phenomenal conclusion for the Shaker Heights offense. Let's hop in front of the camera. Again, sorry for the late little start to this one, or not exactly late. It was actually a broadcast we weren't exactly planning on. This game was supposed to start 15 minutes before the baseball game, which I am hired to do the baseball games in specific, and then Shaker Heights' softball team didn't get to start until about 5 o'clock, and maybe even actually a little bit later than that. And so Shaker Heights softball, who right now taking their trot to the dugout behind me, they have had an absolutely incredible performance in those last 2 innings, innings number 5 and 6, they were able to take 10 runs for themselves. They only led, and when I got here to the field after bolting from the baseball field, Shaker Heights was only up by 1. That lead nowhere to be seen anymore. Here's Juliana Gentili scoring one of those last couple of runs, but here today we're going to have to give the MVP over to Armstrong. I mean, come on, 3 for 3 on the hits, a walk as well. Whenever Reagan Armstrong came up to the plate, it was dominant, and it's something that Shaker Heights will need to carry further when they are taking on Menor in the GCC, taking on Medina in the GCC, Brunswick Heights specifically. Even though Shaker Heights has been able to carry forward with those competitions against Heights, here today, Shaker Heights was mercied before in this Myrtle Beach scrimmage round robin, but today Shaker Heights going to mercy the other team, the Tigers. They have grown a lot throughout these 3 scrimmages. They started off with a poor performance. They, in the middle, competed till the very end with a state tournament runner-up of Virginia. Now here today, mercying a school like it was nothing. Thank you very much for tuning in. Vaughn Ullum on the call. Happy to be with you here from Myrtle Beach again. Just happy to cover these final couple of innings of softball. Shaker Heights, on both their baseball and softball teams, will go 1 for 2. Baseball won their first game. Softball won their last game. So we're starting on a high note. We're ending on a high note. And it has been an absolute honor to cover both of these 2 squads. And hopefully we're going to be able to get the chance to call some more of these softball games. That's the plan out there in Shaker Heights. We're going to cover what we can for the softball squad. And you know the baseball coverage will resume back home as well. Thanks for tuning in. Vaughn Ullum on the call. Thanks for tuning in these past couple of games.